And the process has been amazing from just like a turnkey perspective of like, I mean, all these things that you think you want to do in your mind. I want to have a podcast. I want to create content. And then you realize like, I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to like, I'm not a big detail person. I don't want to do any of these things. And like the fact that all I really have to do is build a relationship, make an ask to come on the podcast, go to a Calendly link and compare my calendar to my producer's calendar to the guest calendar and be able to say planning call scheduled. And that's literally the last thing I have to do other than show up to calls, makes this whole process like incredibly easy for somebody like me who's just trying to like, wanting to bring great content to the world, but doesn't want to have to do anything between that step, 0 and step 100 that is the finished product. So, I mean, the process has been amazing. And I would say too, from an ecosystem building standpoint, I remember these conversations with Jeff at the very beginning about like how to think strategically of not using the podcast, but leveraging the podcast and leveraging that gift that it is to give people this platform to share their thoughts, to share their opinions, to inspire others, to use that to build and strengthen relationships. And so I think as I've like gone on too of hosting this podcast of like, the very first ones were like, I don't want to say friends, but they were friends. They were board members. They were B Corps. So I'd known a really long time. And then I've gotten a little more bold with my ask. And I've gone after some people who I would consider friends or maybe friends after. By the time you get done with the podcast, you're definitely friends. But that just connections that I had that I was like, let me take a shot here and see if Joey Womack wants to come on the podcast. Let me see if I can get Jay Bailey to come on the podcast. Like some of these people, like even though like Rennie Curran is my speaking coach, like Rennie came on the podcast. Like some of these people that like in a weird way you admire for either business leadership or thought leadership or just general like making society better leadership. And then like they come on your podcast and you're able to like, I think it helps you achieve some sort of equal business stature to an extent with them. And then also, I mean, again, they're obviously they are going to be grateful for the opportunity. They're going to be grateful that you give them some marketing collateral, some assets, but I think really just strengthens that bond you have, that relationship that turns into a friendship, that professional connection. And then it literally spirals. Or I don't know if spirals, that goes down. Maybe it's a spiral staircase. So maybe it spirals upwards. But it definitely, I think, just kind of like starts like kind of like a flower that drops its fruit on the ground. And then it reseeds into more, more flowers, more fruit, more flowers, more fruit. So anyway, that would be my my thank you, I guess, if anything, to chat with leaders and to Jeff and to Quentin and everybody that's made the show possible is it's you think about what it's looked like from the time I was first on as a guest when Jeff had this twinkle in his eye of an idea to where we are now, and the fact that some of the guests I've had on and the fact that I'm getting like inbound requests, not from like, hi, I'm a random person that would like to be on your podcast, to like I'm getting people's like personal executive assistants and marketing agencies reaching out because they want on our podcast is just amazing. So it's been a game changer. So thank you all. And if anybody's out there on the fence thinking about whether or not to do this and whether or not it's worth the investment to take all the details off your plate and just show up and be kind of that brilliant voice that can get a brilliant voice to open up and share, to me, it's a no-brainer. I hadn't thought about this, but I guess I've had people on that I wanted to do business with that we eventually ended up doing business with. And then even from Build Southeast, I think sometimes just like I've used it as a tool to also like get people to if you think about that, it's like even it's a nonprofit conference. So it's not like I'm, directly benefiting my company or anything. That's out of the goodness of my heart. But, getting people that eventually end up sponsoring or attending the conference because that builds my relationship with them. And like same thing for support for Be Local Georgia, my nonprofit. Like, I mean, that's who the podcast is for, but I think getting people, inviting them on, making them feel like they're a part of that community strengthens that whole connection. So I think from an ecosystem building standpoint, it's just been, you pile all of that on each other or on top of one another. And it's kind of this recipe for kind of success for the conference, for my business, for the nonprofit. And I think a winner for the ecosystem as a whole, because um, you're adding value in a way that I don't know can be monetized. Like the fact that I'm able, because I've now met these people, because I now have this relationship, whether or not they directly buy from me, I'm able to say to a client, like, oh, they were actually a guest on my podcast. Let me connect y'all. Super amazing. You guys are definitely going to get along. So you're able to like add value to clients and prospects as well now, because you've built really strong relationships with all these like very, I would say, important ecosystem movers. So yeah, I mean, yeah, trying to quantify what it's meant for the business, or I have no idea. But again, it's kind of like the B Corp certification. Like, what's the ROI been on this? It's definitely been good for all facets of my professional endeavors. So the business, the nonprofit, the conference, it just kind of has added energy to the ecosystem, to the work, to the voices within the community. And again, like the fact that I get to be the face of it definitely reflects well upon me. I don't know how else to wrap that up, but it definitely reflects well upon me to be the face of this podcast and to be able to like give out such value to everybody. I want to be out there shaking hands, kissing babies, wearing my red jacket, going speaking on stage, going to conferences, um, talking theory of change and all these different things. Like that's what I want to be doing. And so like you think about thought leadership and the ability to have a podcast and to be able to, that's now really taking off is I don't know what else I could ask from y'all other than the fact that again that I just basically am like I got another great guest like booking the thing and like literally showing up talking for 20-25 minutes, then getting everything else scheduled by the producer, having the questions kind of spelled out, which I kind of riff a little bit, but having the structure laid out, getting the headshots, getting the bios, getting the even writing the intro. I don't even write the intros. I get that where I might tweak it a little bit to sound like me, but like literally to have to do, I hate to say do nothing to be able to bring this out. And now it has gotten to that point where like the guests I'm getting, like, golly, like, like, I mean, it's now gotten to a point where the fruit of our labor has started to bear, or the, whatever, the seeds of our labor have started to bear fruit. I don't know what expression I'm trying to use there, but I feel like it's come together to a point now too where the success of the podcast begets further success. So I think that to me is an incredible thing that I just can't wait to see where this thing goes and who we continue to get on. And honestly too, I think there's a group effort in working with y'all that is different, and that we do somewhat run in similar circles of purpose-driven entrepreneurship and purpose-driven businesses. So there's also been a serious advantage of working with you guys because it gives me the opportunity. It allows us both to like cross-pollinate our networks. And we've both built such trust with our stakeholders and our friends and our customers and our suppliers and basically all these stakeholders that you and I are both not transactional people, that it means a lot to do business with somebody. And we take that responsibility very seriously. Again, whether they're buying from us or we're buying from them, or we partner with them, that I think it allows us both to make very authentic introductions as well. So again, like we cross pollinate. So all these little like different podcasts that y'all are running and different media endeavors and different people you're out meeting, same thing with me, all these things, we're able to kind of start to cross pollinate these and bring more and more purpose driven people together.